What's going on, YouTube? Today we're going to be taking a look at the new system they implemented into Genshin Impact in the latest update, the attribute reference system, where it shows you kind of what artifacts people are running in the community. We're also going to be taking a look at the talent reference system as well, and we're going to be talking about why they are good and bad at the same time and why you shouldn't trust them, generally speaking. So we're going to kind of go through a whole bunch of characters today, judge those, see what we can expect, like what's good, what's bad, and what to watch out for. If you guys enjoy this type of video, make sure to leave a like down below. It really helps me out, and it tells YouTube that the video doesn't suck, and I really appreciate it. I know all of chat right below me, they're all gonna like the video when it's out. So, but anyways, yeah, let's just get started. The reason this is important is because your average Joe that like comes along and is just playing Genshin Impact actually generally isn't watching YouTube, isn't doing research into what artifacts and weapons are best. The casual player, the average Genshin Impact player, doesn't pay attention to any of that stuff. Even though you guys consume content on YouTube, even though you guys are watching, you guys are actually in the minority of people that play the game, and that's why this is kind of a hard system to trust, because you're gonna find out that a lot of these artifact recommendations, these talent recommendations, aren't exactly correct. All right, let's just start with Yamiko. So Sans, you have attack percentage, 10% are using elemental mastery, and 6% are using energy recharge. ER is fine on Yai in cases where like you actually need it. If you're running 4 emblem, that's actually okay. Generally speaking, you're getting the most damage out of attack percent. Then EM is a little, see, this is kind of what I was talking about. Like 10% of the community doesn't really understand that EM is generally speaking going to be worse for Yai. Electro damage, crit damage, yeah. So this is fine. People know how to build Yai. I can tell Bennett's going to be a point of contention though. So there's this thing that happens with Bennett where everyone builds them for heals, and I'm going to kind of explain why that's not super necessary. And then HP and then healing bonus. Yeah, so most people are building like healer Bennett, right? But the thing is, like, Bennett already heals so much. Like, my Bennett is built with pyro damage bonus and crit, right? Which is actually one of the lowest ones. Like 18% people use pyro damage bonus, 13% of people use crit, right? But the thing is, like, he just heals so much. Most of the time, you don't really even need that. I have it crowned. I'm doing 12.75 max HP plus 1588, right? So I'm already doing like at least 3,000 healing per tick, and you don't really need more. Like, I can't think of any situation where you need more than 3,000 per tick. And honestly, we're usually getting more than that anyways, because he's not even fully built. Yeah, like I don't actually have his standard artifacts on. Like he needs his flowers still too, so he's actually going to be getting more than that. Just generally speaking, you don't really need it. I always think it's better to build for a little bit of extra damage, because I think his healing is fine, and you can output like a hit of like 75,000 really quickly. So Venti has this thing where people build him crit. Same with Kazuha. Oh, sorry, by the way, my Venti's on the wrong build. I usually use elemental mastery, but right now Sucrose has my EM pieces. So just, you know, no judgment there, because I'm about to talk shit. Attack percent, yeah, 46%. Animo damage, crit, yeah. So I expected EM to be low. I didn't expect it to be this low. Holy shit. You have 25% on the circlet, 11% on the goblet, and 13%, Jesus. So the thing is, like, yeah, crit Venti's fine. Crit Venti and elemental mastery Venti are pretty close in damage, but crit will usually get beaten out by elemental mastery, and it's easier to build elemental mastery because you don't have to focus on getting crit stats. You just build elemental mastery main stats. If you can get the EM pieces, regardless of their substats, like look at my Sucrose's EM substats. Like all of my EM pieces look like this. They're HP and double defense. Some are double HP, double defense, right? EM is just easier to build and better. So like this is one example of like one thing you can't really trust with these if you're trying to really maximize your damage. Yomiya, okay, this is actually fine. I'm a little worried about the crit damage amount. If people are using Thundering Pulse, that's kind of high, all things considered, but maybe people just have Skyward. A lot of people ask me about EM Yomiya. It's just not the way to go. I'm interested to see what people build on Jean. Honestly, yeah, wow, I'm surprised. Attack, animo damage. Wait, did I leave a mark on the community or what? Like, wait a second. Are you telling me people actually listen to my Jean guide? Sheesh. Yeah, so Jean is like one of the only animo characters that deals like a ton of just upfront like burst damage. And by burst damage, I mean damage that happens very, very quickly. So you can use attack on her, but there are a lot of people that build full attack, and that's for healing, which again, I'm gonna just be honest, guys, you don't need healing bonus on Jean. Granted, I have crowned Jean. It says, okay, field activation, you get 534% of attack plus 4K, right? You're getting 4K by default just by activating it. And this field, like 534% of attack, this is still gonna end up being at least 5K plus the 4K. So you're still getting at least 9,000 healing off of the burst activation, even with this like shit setup that is not complete with the wrong weapon. So like Jean healing is already super good. You don't really need to build her triple attack. She ends up being pretty good without it. All right, let's move on to Ganyu. I wonder how many people are gonna be using elemental mastery, because I use elemental mastery. Wow, that is low actually. Holy cow. Okay, so cryo damage crit is my guess. Yeah, cryo damage crit. So this, I'm actually surprised by this. So I guess a lot of people just don't really know about it, or maybe everyone's just playing freeze. Attack percent is actually better most of the time, and it's better if you just don't really care about like really min-maxing. But if you're trying to get the most damage out of a melt gun you set up, Elemental Mastery adds a lot of damage. Like for those of you who are on my stream, like I think last week at twitch.tv/Braxophone, make sure to go drop a follow and turn on the notifications so you know when I go live. I actually used Sunfire Melt with Ganyu, and I actually used an Elemental Mastery Sands there, and I was getting like 200k total per shot. Now granted, my Ganyu's cracked and probably my most invested unit. It's like the amount of damage bonus you're getting from Elemental Mastery in a melt setup. If you have 100% uptime on your melt, where like your Xiangling has 100% uptime, or you're using Kazuha Bennett and Kazuha has 100% uptime on the Pyro, it ends up just being crazy. So Ryden, I wish it showed what set people were using, but so just looking at stats, ER mostly. This one's tough to judge because it's dependent on your Ryden and your weapon. And I think that a lot of theory crafters and like YouTubers made this really clear that like attack percent here can be better than energy recharge. Energy recharge will be good most of the time. I think that the hard part is like if you're not using engulfing lightning, energy recharge can lose a lot of value, especially if ER subs. Because I've seen people come to me with like 260 ER with an ER Sands on the catch. And if you actually switch that out for like an attack percent Sands, it actually ends up being better, right? So a lot of this is, it depends. Generally speaking, I would say this is fine. I wouldn't worry about that too much. We'll go through talents too. I want to see what like order people level some talents in. Actually, wait, let's go back to Yoimiya real quick. Oh no. So this doesn't seem that bad, right? Like it doesn't seem that bad. Like, oh, just level her elemental skill first because it's got a multiplier. Of all the things in Yoimiya's kit, her elemental skill gives her the least damage bonus of any of them. It's pretty bad. Like here, let me just look at this because I think Xiao's similar because Xiao gets like he gets multipliers from his burst, but you want to level his normal normal attacks first. Why are people doing this? Chat, for most infusion or like most characters that do like this infusion thing where they have like a timer, most characters, I think maybe there's only one character that doesn't. The normal attack bonus gives more than the burst. This is like actually crazy. Yeah, like just to give you context, like this, maybe the difference between like level 8 and crowning this ability is like maybe 1 or 2% damage. It's really small damage bonus. You should be leveling your normal attacks first. Whatever. I don't know. I don't care. What are we doing here? Or pretend I didn't see it. Okay. For Hu Tao artifacts, we see mostly HP. Oh, wait a sec. Oh no. Don't put Elemental Mastery below attack percent. Wait, Elemental Mastery Hu Tao is cracked. Very, very good. If you're trying to max Hu Tao, that's great. Attack percent is never better than Elemental Mastery if you're using Vaporized Hu Tao. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Just don't do attack percent Hu Tao. All right, Elemental Mastery, EM. Yeah, okay, this is actually good. Most of Sucrose's value is from EM and Taser, and then just sharing Elemental Mastery with the team. You can build Sucrose to like group and deal damage with like attack percent and stuff, and that's fine. I think having Energy Recharge second is actually good because if you can't get her burst up and you want to get it up more, ER is not too bad. Sucrose fine. Albedo. I wonder how many people are using defense circlets still. Let's see. Geo damage, mostly defense. Okay, so most people are going for crit over defense now. If you have his weapon, that's what it should look like. And honestly, for most people, just building defense percent in the last spot means you have to have cracked crit stats. So I'd say Albedo's good. Albedo's pretty safe. So Zhongli is interesting because I think we're gonna see energy recharge and attack as the next stats. Yeah, attack percent, energy recharge. Okay, so most people go for the shield bot. So I won't lie, I generally go for the shield bot build, but I'm realizing more and more that it's just so overdone. Especially if you're running double geo, you just don't really need the shield bot build. Like you can build double HP here, but you should still build for him for like a tiny bit of damage, I think. Unless you're just really lazy like me and you just never want to take any damage, so you give him Black Tassel. He will be a damage loss though in some teams. If you're playing like Melt Ganyu and you use his Meteor, you might be losing damage compared to like what Ganyu could be doing. Same with like Hu Tao and stuff, so keep that in mind. But if you're using him in a team that's already like kind of suboptimal, like you should probably try to get as much damage out of him as you can. Plus the Meteor looks cool as fuck. Like who wouldn't want to use that? Also, just know that like attack percent does get more damage out of him overall than HP. HP is just nice because of the shield bonus. So okay, I've seen some people in comments talking about ER Sand Shell, and I have to know, are people actually building energy recharge Sand Shell? Let's find out. Okay, it's not that many. I thought that was gonna be like 20%. We're chilling. We're good. There are very few people that actually do this. Okay, so Yunjin, to ignore my build, I just shuffled a bunch of artifacts around. You want defense or ER. You want one of the two, right? And then defense with some crit rate on it. So what I actually do is I run energy recharge on her. So I use ER. This has a lot of crit rate on it, which is good for Favonius. And the reason I do that is because I want her to have 100% uptime. So when she has her full setup on, which I think she might now, right? So I have 42 crit rate. So like I'm critting on Favonius fairly often. And if you look at my energy recharge, I'm at like 221, right? With this build with Favonius, I'm getting 100% uptime. Every time I use her skill, I'm getting half my energy bar. And so after the rotation is done, I'll be about halfway up, and then I'll use her skill once, pick up the Favonius particles and the Geo particles, and then it like fills my gauge all the way. You guys can build defense first, defense over ER on Yunjin. Don't really understand what it feels like to have 100% uptime. I think a lot of them are like, oh, I don't have energy issues, but I don't think any of them have had the pure serotonin, the dopamine response of like switching over to Yunjin and having her burst every time. I don't think people all do that. This is getting progressively longer. Defense, crit. Yep. That's fine. You can build them for damage, but it's not really worth it because its damage is like really low. ER, I would say, is like more important than defense here, just because you want that uptime again. But if you can afford it, then defense is fine. Attack, cryo, crit. Yeah, so if you're running her in melt, you can run EM. I'm surprised more people don't run elemental mastery on her, actually. But actually, you know what doesn't make sense? Why are more people running HP than elemental mastery? Are these people that are like below AR 45? I feel like it has to be, right? I don't know. Like maybe people are playing Staff of Homa and they're like, damn, I need to increase their HP to increase my Staff of Homa. Damn. I don't know, chat. I don't know. I have a feeling we're gonna see energy recharge. Oh, okay. It's not at the top. EM is a little weird. Elemental Mastery is a little weird on Xingqiu, but that's another thing. Energy Recharge on Xingqiu is okay if you need it, but I would say generally speaking, like running attack percent on him with enough ER subs is like, it feels a lot better to me. It's pretty split. If you're gonna run ER on him, you basically have to be running Emblem. If you're not running Emblem, then ER loses a lot of value on him, but hopefully people are doing that. Oh no, Toma's gonna be bad. Toma's gonna be a mess, but I wanna see what people are doing. All right, let's do it. Let's just check. Let's just see. All right, HP. Okay, so it's HP. Let's talk about it. If you're not playing ER Toma, you better have 20% ER on every one of your substats and Favonius Lance. I mean, because like, okay, like build full HP on this guy. Like, sure, like his shield's pretty good, but like, when are you gonna be able to use it? EM? Wow, okay. Most people are using energy recharge on her. Even though this scuffs her damage overall, like she gets higher damage with attack or elemental mastery than ER. Having uptime on Xiangling, again, is just, it's necessary. Like you need to have uptime on Xiangling if you want to get the most damage out of your team setup. And because of Emblem, you can kind of invest into her damage while getting good uptime. So I would say though, like if you are hyper investing in Xiangling, you get the ER substats, you get elemental mastery on the sands, and you pop off. Let's check out the Xinyan. She a new character? Yeah, so this is a character they just added this patch, I think. She just came in, so I'm surprised they have data on her already because they haven't had data for Yelan yet. So I think it's really interesting that they have data for her already. But yeah, it looks like people are building her attack, physical crit damage. I think she, like I read up on her kit earlier. It looks like she has like defense scaling. But I think, yeah, she has like a shield. She's pretty cool, but yeah, I'm not super interested. Okay, Komi hours, chat. If you're gonna play Clam, I think it's probably best to just play like HP healing percent with Clam. The benefit you get from running Kokomi though is that you don't even need to give her the right stats. Like I'm gonna be completely honest, chat, you could give her the wrong stats and she's still healing a shit ton and she's still giving you value off of tenacity or Clam. Clam specifically, you do have to invest in her a little bit. If you want to get the most out of Clam, you play HP healing bonus, or you play energy recharge HP healing bonus, but probably HP healing bonus. Chat, Kokomi players, they know what they're doing. They've evolved. So I wonder if the builds are going to update every patch or not. I wonder if that's what they're planning on doing. I feel like we've learned a lot about the Genshin community. Like a lot of these builds are like fairly trustworthy. Like a lot of them are accurate reflections of the character, but for characters that are more complex, that have mixed scalings or can take advantage of elemental mastery, most of the time the community isn't actually taking advantage of those characters. For example, like, okay, so we have our 1-to-2 ratio child, right? And a lot of people, if they're going to build him as a nuke, they're going to build him with attack percent, but you can actually build him as a nuke with elemental mastery if you're just trying to one-shot bosses. If you're not trying to one-shot bosses, do not do that. That is a waste of time. But like, you know, if you're trying to make a showcase, for example, elemental mastery gets you more damage. And people don't know that. People know that elemental mastery is like okay on Melt and Vape characters, but for like, if you're just trying to get one big hit, elemental mastery is most of the time going to be better than attack percent on your Hydro, Pyro, and Cryo characters. But then for characters that do lots of massive hits, like Ganyu, right? Not a lot of people are actually running EM on Ganyu, but EM on Ganyu in a Melt setup can actually be very good consistently. The elemental mastery, for example, on Ganyu ends up being like significantly better in Melt setups where you have 100% uptime on Melt. And so it's just things like that. People don't know about it. But also for the leveling talents things, you can't really always trust these either, right? Like, cause you go over here and you look and like people are leveling up Yoimiya's elemental skill first when her elemental skill adds the least to her kit of any of her abilities. You could level her skill up to 10 and then level her normal attacks up to like 4, and her normal attacks would have given her significantly more damage bonus than her elemental skill would have. It's actually crazy. And even her burst, like her burst still outputs like more bonus damage overall than leveling up her skill to like that much. What I actually recommend is if you're playing like Yoimiya, just for example, get this to 6. You don't really need to get it beyond that. You can, it's like a tiny bit more damage, but it's not that much. In Yoimiya players defense chat, I think they're just trying to have a good time. Look, they're just vibing. Yoimiya's just vibing. She's just chilling there with a smile on her face. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed or if you have been baited by any of these choices, let me know it in the comments below. But if you guys enjoyed, make sure to like the video down below. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We're getting close to 100,000 subscribers. We're at 87,000. If we get 100K before the end of the year, that's going to be insane. So I would appreciate if any of you guys want to drop a sub down below. Much appreciated. If you're confused on any of these character builds, or if you think I said something horribly, terribly wrong, go reference one of my build guides back down on the channel. I have a build guide for almost every character so far. And so if you guys want to see the details behind why we build things the way we do, take a look at those. Anyways, I will catch you guys next time. See you later.